Hey everybody, welcome to Circle Time with Mr. Andrew. I hope everyone had a really good weekend. So last week we worked on characters and settings for our fictional stories. And today we're going to take those characters and those settings and start making stories of our own. But first, let's take a look at the calendar and we'll read a book together. So we know that we are in the month of April. And the weekend just passed. That was Saturday and Sunday. So that means today is Monday. And help me count to see what date it is. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Today is Monday, April 13, 2020. So let's put a shape for today. And I've got a shape right here. And I'll hold it up close so you can see it. And it looks a little bit like a circle that's been squashed. Can you make a circle with your hands? And now squish it. And what shape is that? You're right, it's an oval. So let's make today an oval day. Monday the 13th will be an oval day. And looking ahead to the week, I can see that on, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Wednesday, we have two birthdays. It's going to be Patrick's birthday and Reese's birthday. So on that day, we'll wish those two friends a happy birthday. All right, let's get out our 10s and 1 sticks. So the last time we looked at these cups, we had a bundle of 10s. So let's count up to 13. Ready? We have 10, 11, 12, 13. So a 13 is a 10 and 1, 2, 3. 3 ones. Help me say that. 13 is 1 10 and 3 ones. Cool. So we've got 13 sticks all in the right place. Let's read our story together. So last week, if you remember, the character that I made was called Brian the guinea pig, and he was generous, kind, adventurous, heroic, and brave. So I thought I would read a book today that is about two friends being kind to each other, being generous, going on an adventure. There's also some bravery and some heroic actions as well. So let's read The Snail and the Whale by Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big gray-blue humpback whale. This is a rock, as black as soot, and this is the snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships on the dock, and as she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock, and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wiggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sniffed and sighed, then cried, "I've got it, I'll hitch a ride." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, "Ride wanted around the world." This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." There's the snail getting on the tail. This is the sea, so wild and free. that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands. With fiery mountains and golden sands. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where colorful fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam past the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky, so vast and high. Sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. And as she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand, she gazed and gazed, amazed by it all. And she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day when the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away. And this is the whale lying beached in the bay. "Quick, off the sand, back to the sea," cried the snail. "I can't move on land, I'm too big," moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small, and then, "I've got it," she cried, and she started to crawl. "I must not fail," said the tiny snail. Oops. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, "Sit straight, don't talk." This is the board as black as soot. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. "A snail, a snail!" The teacher turns pale. "Look," say the children, "it's leaving a trail." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, "Save the whale." These are the children running from school, fetching the firemen, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting, "Hooray!" as the whale and the snail traveled safely away. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, "How time's flown, and haven't you grown?" And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. And then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the great blue humpback whale. The end. So I hope you enjoyed the story of the snail and the whale, and I hope you're ready now to join me in making my own story. So again, we're making fictional stories today, which means that they didn't happen in real life, and they're just made up from our heads. So we're going to use our characters, Brian the guinea pig, and our settings that we made last week. In my case, New York City is a real place, but the story that I'm going to make up that happens in it is not going to be real. And of course, we are going to use a storyboard to get us started. So I'm using an extra big storyboard this time. When we used a storyboard last, we had a beginning, middle, and end. But now that we're pretty good at making stories and using storyboards, I'm going to include an extra middle. Beginning, middle, middle, and end. If you want to, you can include an extra middle as well. If you want to just do one middle, that's totally fine too. If you want to add another middle, that's okay also. So join me now and we'll make up a story. So I think stories are really interesting to read when there's a problem that has to be solved in the story. And in this case, in The Snail and the Whale, the problem was that the whale got stuck on the beach. And the way that our character solved it was to go to the school nearby and use his slimy trail to write "Save the Whale." And that got all the villagers to help the whale and save him so that he could go back to the ocean. And so I'm going to think of a story in which my character Brian solves a problem in New York City. So I think I'll start in the beginning. Brian, the guinea pig, is going to notice that all the people in New York have a case of the blues. They're all kind of sad. So I'll make Brian walking around. Here he is. There's his belly. There's his little arm. Here's his other arm. And his eyes. He's got kind of a puzzled look on his face. Let's do his ears too. And he's going to notice that all the people in New York are sad. Oh no. He sees all these sad people. And again, this is in New York City, so I'll draw some of the big buildings in New York behind these people and behind Brian. So the way Brian the guinea pig is going to solve this problem is by building a big dance floor. Let's see. Here we go, Brian. Remember, the storyboard's just for ideas, so the drawings don't have to be perfect as long as we can just kind of tell what they are. Oop. And Brian's hoping that by building a big dance floor and inviting everyone to dance with him, he'll cure everybody's sadness. So let's see, I'll put a hammer in his hands. There we go. Little hammer, and he's building a dance floor. All right. And now he's going to invite everybody to come and dance with him. So let's put a speaker right here. And let's go ahead and draw Brian the guinea pig. And he's going to have his hands up because he's dancing. Floppy ears, big eyes. All right. And he invited a bunch of people that he saw. He invited everybody, actually, to dance with him as well. And in the end, that is how Brian the heroic and brave guinea pig saved New York and chased away their sad blues. So let's draw Brian the guinea pig. And let's say that the people of New York gave him a medal. I'll put number 1. There we go. And everyone is so happy for him because he saved New York. All right, great. So now I'm going to just try to add some words. So in the beginning, we know that everyone was sad. So let's sound that out. Sad. 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 And then in the middle, in the first middle part, he built a dance floor. So built, built. And then he invited everyone to come dance. Dance. And then in the end, he got a medal. So edal. Great. And then you can ask a grown-up to help you just add a few more words. And you can tell them the words and they can help you write them out. So I'll just do one right now. Okay, so there you have it. I took my character and the setting of my story, and I used a storyboard to come up with the outline of my story. So tomorrow, we'll add a few more details, a few more words, and some better drawings, and we will turn that into a book. So thanks for joining me today, everybody. Have a great day.